Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our scenario is entitled A Trick of the Light. It was written by Janice Hill, and she'll be GMing it for us. Troy Wheeldryer will be giving the recap. This will be episode 3. It's Boston in the Jazz Age. The players are ready. Let's begin our journey into the darkness. Troy?
All right. So I wake up in a frenzy because I've just realized that what happened the previous night was not a dream. I did in fact see a woman in a painting who moved and said very distinctly, "Help me." Me being a woman of the times, I have to look out for my fellow woman. So I've assembled a very disparate group of gentlemen to assist me in this endeavor. We met up at the Boston Globe and we determined that we've all agreed to help this woman in any way possible. Based on our leads, we know that a Mr. Jeremiah Lambert is in fact the painter of the, in my opinion, bourgeois, trite, banal piece of art that in fact hides this remarkable woman. I sent out a Mr. Gerard, which I've explained in previous diaries, I'm not quite trustful of, but I feel like he may be somewhat useful, at least in the interim. Some other figures that are somewhat less than savory, but may have some intriguing qualities in this endeavor are Prez and Mr. Diz. They are looking to gather more information on the art side of things, the dealers, to figure out if they can find any more information about the artwork and how our poor Mr. Purley came into possession about it. I would rather not get all the details on how they're going about that. And then we have Frankie and Johnny, our two jazz players, the ostensible subjects of my piece that is probably going to have to be moved to another column. I'm sure the editor will understand. Frankie and Johnny went to visit assuming a disreputable gentleman called Danny Dice to procure a woman of the night. Hopefully we can get more information about the woman in the painting who Purley seems to think belongs to that profession. As far as we know, we are all going to be meeting up to plan our next moves. I, for one, am going to work on getting in touch with a Mr. Philip Stone, who was the ostensible buyer of the painting. I'll end my dispatch now, and I am ready to head out and see if I can get more information to save this poor woman.
Excellent. I'm going to presume that since you all went your separate ways to follow up some of these leads, except for, as I remember, Gerard, who went back to his apartment, that you have made some sort of arrangements to at least touch bases or meet the next morning or midday, lunchtime perhaps, with our jazz musicians who are out fairly late. Diz is off taking care of some unspecified business, so who knows what he's up to at this point. But I know that Prez certainly has some information to report on what they were looking into and what they found out. It looks like on our agenda is speaking to Philip Stone today and meeting with the young woman who was engaged for unspecified services at this point by Frankie and Johnny, in the hopes of tracking down this elusive and mysterious Lydia Oleander, who has a tie to the artist's model. So let's assume that probably around maybe 2 o'clock or so in the afternoon, you folks will convene at a coffee shop not far from Gerard's apartment, just to save some wear and tear on his boots, as it were. And Prez can let you know what they found out.
Boots, don't be ridiculous.
Slippers.
This is his moccasin phase.
It's my purple moccasin phase. So I'm going to the coffee shop.
Okay.
No, I don't want any coffee. Where is everybody?
Are you going to get there early, Maggie, or are you going to be fashionably tardy?
She'll be a little bit fashionably late, but not too late. This is something she's actually interested in. So 10, 15 minutes tops.
I'm going to be uncharacteristically on time.
Right.
Just to throw you off.
Bonjour, Prez. How are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad. How's Tricks?
Tricks? I don't know tricks.
You're a card. You really are. The Joker in the pack.
Yes, the Joker, yes.
Johnny and Frankie, are you guys going to be on time or running a little late or early?
Waiting for a wake-up call from Frankie. So depends on what time he gets up.
We'll get up pretty much on time. I'll swing by your place and beep the horn outside.
All right.
Oh.
All right, so we're heading there.
Okay.
Hey, buddy. Cup of Joe. Side of dough. Over here.
Maggie will saunter in and ask the boy, "Oh, and a dry piece of toast and black coffee, please." She'll sit down. Prez, Gerard. I've already spoken to you, Gerard, but Prez, how was the meeting?
I better wait until everyone else gets here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was,
Johnny.
It was interesting. How about you? What's rattling, Toots?
Well, today I'm planning to go meet with Philip Stone. Can it be assumed that I got in touch with his secretary, or
Sure.
Okay, all right. So we've set up a meeting to meet at his place for a column.
Look at this motley bunch sitting here drinking coffee.
I know.
Monsieur Tran.
How is everybody?
I'm pretty sure this isn't coffee that I'm drinking. I think this is sun boil.
Bonjour, Johnny.
Hey, what's happening, Captain?
And how did your procurement go?
Well,
we have an appointment.
I'd say
I'll
it
let you go.
was successful, but we may need some help from you all.
What kind is the woman?
The price of this young lady that we're helping might be quite high.
How high is quite high?
Let's say I got to do some really big gigs for the next 3 years in order to make up. I had to
My
spend.
God.
I believe we were quoted a price of about $20.
$20? What is it, gold plated?
That's what I'm thinking.
For a make-believe woman in a picture? That's crazy. Why don't you give up this silly hallucination of all of yours?
Gerard, this is real, and Frankie and Johnny, if you need some assistance, I can help.
I don't know. I think you should probably take a better look at the painting again. Make sure that before you spend $20 on a piece of fluff.
And
So, do we know this girl is the girl?
let's. Well, no. Set this up. We're trying to get in touch with her madam.
Okay.
For us to get in touch with her madam, you have to go through this other young lady.
You have to work your way through the
Look at this
through
as
the pasture.
yeah.
Yeah, my
Look at this as an early birthday.
Look, $20 would grease a whole lot of palms.
Yeah.
You sure you're going about this the right way?
No, actually, I'm not. My hope is.
Well, thanks for that. After I spent my money.
Well, I don't think we've paid yet, have we?
So how much are you short?
Well, I'm hoping we could maybe do like a pool or something so that we could all chip in a certain amount.
Huh.
My hope is, so what the intent was is that when this young lady arrives, I can explain the situation to her, and hopefully either she will grant us a huge discount. I mean, we'll probably still have to pay for her time in some way, but I'm hoping she will see that we're trying to help one of her friends and appeal to her.
Assuming she's friends with her.
You ain't never done this before, have you?
No. No.
Why is she
If
going to?
she turns up at your room, she gets the money, right? Because there's going to be a guy outside who makes sure that she gets the money. She's not going to leave there without the money. There's going to be no negotiating. It's going to whatever you get out of her is going to take $20. Even if it's just a name, it's $20.
Mm.
I'll tell you that now. Not that I've ever used the services of working ladies, but you know, I visit a lot of speakeasies, and people are free and easy with their recollections of their adventures.
Right.
Yes, you should be very careful. Tony is a very dangerous man. Or whatever his name is.
I was about to say who's Tony. Okay. Well, best of luck to you, gentlemen.
Some torpedo.
I'll provide $10 if the rest of you can scrounge up some extra cash.
I'll spot you 5.
Appreciate it, everybody.
But damn, I want to get invited to some good parties for the next couple of years.
And you still owe me a interview.
I am apologetic. All I have is 50 cents. I just don't have that kind of cash.
Okay.
Every little bit counts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Prez, what's going on with your attempts?
Well,
I see your colleague isn't here.
I've no idea where he is. I think he's got something on with that Mexican guy. I think it's some business thing. I don't know.
Did he get
okay?
pinched?
You know, if she's going to listen to you at all, if she's going to, I'm sorry, if she's going to listen to you at all, you better show her a picture.
Oh, the picture. Sorry, I right, the picture. Yeah. Sorry, for a minute I thought that was some kind of euphemism.
It is not that big a picture, monsieur.
But I agree. I think showing her the actual painting might be helpful.
You think, just to get a name from her?
I mean,
I thought
all
that you wanted. I thought you wanted to convince her that you had a need to save this invisible woman in the painting.
Well, it could backfire because it obviously didn't work for you, Gerard. So if it doesn't work for her,
I hadn't taken quite as many drugs as you had.
Or she could see it like we have and go raving mad.
And statistically speaking, the probabilities are greater that she will. I mean, if all of us saw it and you're the only one that hasn't seen it, Gerard, then probability-wise.
Well, then what you must tell her is that one of her friends, you don't even have a name, do you?
We have 2 names, but we don't know if they're her real name.
Well, you must tell her that one of her friends are in trouble and that you will still pay her, but that you are trying to find out information so you can save her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was the plan.
That's the plan anyway.
But if she thinks any of you are involved in law enforcement, you won't get a thing out of her. I don't really know how to hold one of these things.
Would you think my presence would be helpful?
You are a woman, yes.
Lay for fear, perhaps.
Yes,
you are a woman, but you're also a reporter. You're probably well known as a reporter, so
believe me.
I don't work the Vice Squad.
Well, believe me, the whores do not have time to read, to put faces with newspaper people. They might know.
You never know.
They might have read the thing, but they would know what she looks like.
Well, remember, these ladies are high end. These are from
all they're ever going to
society.
see in the newspaper is a name.
Well, perhaps I'm a little bit of a celebrity.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean,
so is Hetty Hooper, but nobody knows what she looks like.
Okay. Well, I mean, just letting airing out my opinion. If a reporter around, especially when 2 men, it may seem like we're trying to report on that particular lifestyle.
I think you should all be armed.
So I shouldn't be present then. That's what we've agreed on.
What I'm thinking is Frankie and I can question her, talk to her, tell her that we're here to help a friend. Get us.
All right.
You're going to be there, right, Johnny?
And she doesn't have to work.
It's true. She may be grateful for that.
Actually,
easy money.
She's meeting up at your place, right?
Yeah, another foolish mistake I gave my actual address.
Well, I mean, your wife is out of town, right?
I don't have a wife. I'm a jazz musician.
Keep saying that.
I'm a jazz musician. I'm out.
Keep saying
all
that.
night.
But yeah, I could bring over the painting if that might help convince her. But
if nothing else, that might be a good way to show her who we're looking for.
Who we're talking about. So
that might work out. And then if she happens to see something, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, if she doesn't see anything, start off by showing her telling her that we're looking for her.
Mm-hmm.
The painting talk to us or anything like that. Friend of a friend says that she's in trouble and we're looking. She does see what's in the painting like we have. It'd be easier to convince her to help her.
Yeah.
We have of who we're looking for. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds relevant. What did you do yesterday, Jordan?
What did I do? I went to the art. The word just went right out of my head. The art dealers, to see if they had any knowledge of these paintings, which more or less they did not. They had heard of course, Monsieur Pickman, but there was no example of his work anywhere to be found. I think I heard about him years ago, but he had very strange paintings.
Yes, I happen to remember hearing about him, and this Lambert fellow is connected to him somehow.
I think they said he was a student of Pickman's.
You mean there's more than one of these strange paintings?
Oh, I don't know about that. Pickman's paintings are all in the hands of private collectors. They are, from what I understand, they are very disturbing, avant-garde.
Well, I'll tell you for a fact that I found out that there's at least one other Lambert painting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seems this Phil 80 fella over at the pool hall. He's a creepy son of a bitch, that one. He's apparently got a handle on some fella he knows is, guess you'd say he was Lambert's landlord. Lambert skipped out, left a load of unpaid bills, and the guy decided to take over the paintings, sell them off, try and get back some of the cash. But in the course of discussion, I may have led AD to believe that I was interested in making some copies of these paintings so that we could sell them to multiple buyers and double his money.
Guess who gets to be the fake artist?
Yeah, I'm trying to...
Quite the conspiracy.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with a way that we're going to get out of that, or I'm going to get out of that. But it gives us a little bit of time to hang on to the painting. It gives Pearlie a little bit of leeway as well. Hopefully, it won't come back on us. But yeah, I told the guy to get in touch with him in the next couple of days. But I don't know. There's something about this that doesn't seem right. I mean,
I'm not quite sure even what you're trying to do.
Well, I'm hearing this fella has got like the Pearlie's got a $2,000 debt, and he's paying off a $2,000 debt by delivering a painting. For $2,000?
The economics of this are very sketchy. I agree.
I mean, how many hoods could you hire to drop off a painting? You could hire an army to deliver that painting in an armored truck for $2,000. So there's more to this than meets the eye. There's something going on here. I don't know what the hell it is, but there's something going on here.
One has to consider too, if somebody in the crime syndicate does not want to do something, like delivers a painting for whatever reason, perhaps he doesn't want to meet the man who wants to collect it, then he may be willing to forgive such a debt simply because it's really kind of meaningless to him anyway. $2,000 to you and I, it's insane, but to a man who has millions of dollars in secret, $2,000 is nothing. And he just doesn't want to deliver the painting. It seems incredible. I'd go deliver the painting for $2,000. I'd do anything he wanted else. I'd kill somebody for $2,000.
It's worth bearing in mind.
Write that down, Maggie.
Who wouldn't?
Yes. Well, I'm going to go investigate this Philip Stone fellow. I have an appointment to go meet with him. Does anyone want to come along and take on a persona? I can have you pretend to be a photographer or something.
Photographer. Give me one moment. Yeah, I've got one of those. Yeah.
You have a camera?
No, I haven't got a camera, but I've got a photographer's business card.
Well, we'll need to go by the globe and see.
Lloyd Russell, photographer.
Ah, perfect. Excellent. We'll need to procure a camera. Perhaps I can go by the globe and see if I can sneak one out.
Okay, I'll give it a go. I mean, how hard can it be? You just point at things and press the button, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Point and shoot, right?
I can do that.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah. Especially with modern advancements in photography, it's quite simple.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know all about it. I used to have a box brownie.
All right. So Maggie's going to get up to go. Prez, are you coming?
Sure am.
Okay.
Anybody else in the crew want to tag along with Maggie?
Not particularly. I'm not sure I can trust her.
What was that?
Nothing.
I see.
How about you, Frankie or Johnny? Either of you want to go along with Maggie?
Well, three's a crowd.
Sounds a little too high end for me.
And we're going to stick out like sore thumbs. What do you want to do, though? I have this appointment until, what, 2 a.m.?
2 a.m.
So we got to get you all jazzed up for your little date tonight, buddy.
Cue the montage
scene. Let's have a little stroll around town. And as a matter of fact, I'll tell you about this song that's been going on in my head that I want you to perform the next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to hear that.
Well, you guys can take advantage of Gerard's fashion sense. I'm sure he can offer some tips on personal grooming and dressing to get you spiffed out.
Yeah. Come along.
I'm sorry. I was going to ask really quick. Do we have any names linked to this girl yet?
To the girl in the picture?
Yeah.
I believe Pearlie said that he believed her name was Cassandra.
Cassandra.
Because he had seen her a couple of months ago, back in 26, at some of the nightclubs he was playing at.
Okay.
He's presuming that that's not her real name, that that's her working name.
While they're all gone, I'm going to go see if I can find out if there's a missing girl named Cassandra.
All right. Where are you going to look?
The red light district.
Okay. All right. There's probably not a lot of people up and about at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. They're doing their laundry and stuff, maybe, at this point. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Okay. All right. So you're not going to hang out with Johnny and give him fashion tips?
No. He would look ridiculous in silk. He should wear a black pinstripe suit. It would be beautiful on him.
I have one of those.
And a fedora.
All righty.
Not one of those black fedoras, but one that's almost black.
All right. Let's take care of our meeting with Mr. Stone first.
All right.
We will try not to keep everyone hanging too long while you guys are off. We'll presume that you've had your meeting set up for about 4 o'clock, which would have given you an hour and a half to meet with the other folks at 2, and then pop over to the Globe and pick up a camera. Prez can get himself situated to look like a photographer. You can get him a little press pass to stick in his hat band and that kind of thing. And drive out to the expensive, ritzy part of town. The address is set back off the street up through a winding gravel driveway. You can't really see anything but the top of the roof of the house from the street because there are trees and things all in front. And there does not appear to be any kind of guards or anything like that. You can just drive up through the to the driveway to the front of this place. It is a very large, rambling 2-story house, probably built during the colonial period. So big pillars out in front and whitewashed brick, neatly trimmed hedges. The area around the house is fairly wild. So in the immediate perimeter, there's trimmed grass and looks like landscaping, but you don't have to go too far to get out into kind of brambles and woods and that sort of thing. And you folks can leave the car there and go up to the front, ring the doorbell. Not surprisingly, it is answered by a honest-to-God, real English butler in a cutaway coat and striped trousers and has his hair slicked back. He's probably in his 50s, a little older. Not wearing white gloves, so you can tick a point off for that if you're keeping track of that sort of thing. But he will, once you identify yourselves, he will open the door and usher you into the foyer, which is a big area with black and white marble tile and a stairway going up to the upper floors. You can see wooden doors, pocket doors that are closed currently. But he will take you into the front parlor where you can wait. It is furnished very, very modern. So streamlined, very Art Deco, lots of space with heavy carpets, dark heavy curtains. There's a big fireplace, but it's not lit, given that this is early spring, so it's probably still fairly warm. And it will not take but a couple of moments. You guys can poke around and sort of look at the bookshelves and things like that, get a sense of the fellow that owns the place.
It's a good idea.
Can I kind of look at the artwork that's on the walls? Is it similar in style to the Lambert piece?
It's much more modernistic.
Okay.
So very few things that have any kind of realism or pictorial quality, lots of stripes of color, more abstract looking. Mm-hmm. If you know much about modern art or you have a taste in modern art, you can tell that he definitely knows his stuff as far as purchasing. But if you're not into abstract art, it looks just like big splotches of color and pretty, but not greatly impressive. So it sort of depends on where your tastes run on that scale.
Okay.
As far as books go, he seems to be fairly eclectic reader. There's history here. You don't see a lot in the way of popular novels. Geography, history, some math books, some astronomy books, mostly hard science and nonfiction.
No Fitzgerald on the...
No.
Okay. All right.
How about you, Prez? What are you going to poke around at?
I'm just going to take in the room generally, I think. Try and get the measure of the man.
Yeah, the feeling that you get is that there's not a lot of clutter here and not a lot of sentimentality. So you don't see keepsakes or knickknacks or, you know, frou-frou kind of things. But it doesn't have a overwhelming masculine feel to it either at the same time.
Presumably, this is just a room where he entertains people as well, so there's very little in the way of a personal touch.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of a feeling of sort of walking into a furniture showroom. It's a little too neatly placed, a little too precise. There's something a little hollow about it in a lot of ways.
Is there a cigarette box on the table?
There is indeed.
Okay. I'll make a note of that. That doesn't mean anything though. He might be a smoker, he might not be. He might just have them there for guests. Is there any alcohol on display?
There is a small cabinet discreetly tucked into a corner of the room that has some decanters, and they have various colored liquids in them, but no labels or anything like that.
So he's not necessarily afraid of the law then. He's quite willing to display, well, kind of willing to display the fact that there's alcohol in his home. It's not hidden away. So,
Good eye, Prez.
He's not necessarily afraid of the law, which I guess with a man with this much money, he has every right not to be. Especially in this town, am I right?
I happen to agree with you.
Well, both Prez and Maggie do have a kind of flair and sense for the dramatic. And if you're a little cynical, you can chalk up his appearance to waiting until just long enough till you're almost antsy, but not quite, so that you're pacing and wondering where he is. And Philip Stone is an older man, very trim, looks very athletic. He has graying hair, very distinguished, though not tall. And he has apparently somewhat taken a page out of Gerard's book, because he is dressed in black silk lounging pajamas and has a bright yellow robe over the top of that, and fancy embroidered house slippers of a deep purple hue on his feet.
Okay.
And we'll pause dramatically in the door frame with one hand up against the frame and look both of you up and down.
Maggie's a little taken aback. She was not expecting that. But she kind of recovers and says, "Oh, Mr. Stone, thank you so much for agreeing to meet with us."
"It is my pleasure." He steps in and offers his hand.
Yes, and she'll graciously shake it. "This is my photographer."
How do you do, sir? Lloyd Russell.
"Mr. Russell?"
Star photographer. How are you?
Looks you up and down and makes a little gesture to one of the little love seat sofas there and let you folks get settled.
Well, as she sits down, well, I just wanted to say thank you so much for letting us meet with you on such short notice. We had an issue with one of our columnists being taken ill, and so we needed, we were going to ask you next week to agree to this meeting, but we needed space to fill for this week, so I really appreciate it on such short notice.
He nods and smiles and nods and smiles.
So we would just like to get a feel for your artistic sensibilities. Our readers are really interested in sort of the new art. And from what I can see from this room, you're quite the modernist.
These are not entirely the pride of my collection, but they hold a special place in my heart. He gets up and walks over to one that's covered in bright blue and orange splashes of color. Now, this young man, I think he has some promise. You know, if you have an eye for art, you can spot talent early, and well, when they become famous, or sometimes when they die, the paintings will appreciate in value, but that is not monetary concerns. That is not why I buy.
What is your passion about art? What drives you? What are you interested in?
I like the unique, the unusual, the things other people aren't comfortable with. Now, these, of course, these are things that I show my guests. Some of the things that I have acquired are not to everyone's tastes, and of course, a well-brought-up young lady like you, you might find terribly offensive. So you understand that I don't keep those on public display.
Oh well, Mr. Stone, you know, I was brought up in a nice New England family, but I work in the art world now, and it is my duty as a reporter of this field to be exposed to the most forms of art I can see. If you have any pieces that you deem to be exceptional, I would love to see them.
Well, of course, you understand that I can't allow any sort of photography.
Oh, yes, of course. Absolutely. Lloyd, how about you set your camera down over there, and we'll go take a look at some of his art.
Yes,
I can describe it.
I'm going to largely just hover in the background at the moment.
Okay.
I'm more interested in studying Stone's mannerisms.
Okay. Well, he will make sure that you set the camera aside and that you're not carrying it. And he will stand up and sort of swan out of the room back to the foyer and motion the two of you to follow him and take you up the big staircase.
From his mannerisms, do I get sort of an effeminate sort of sense from him?
A little bit. I mean, not way over the top, but he's definitely a dilettante.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what else?
Okay. All right.
Though you get the impression, at least when he first met the two of you, that he was giving both Maggie and Prez the equal look up and down. So,
do we get sort of a sense of casual condescension, disdain?
A little bit, but that kind of comes along with being wealthy and
everyone is, yeah,
a little bit, yeah. Especially since you're newspaper people, you know.
Yeah, live in the city. Yeah, right. Yeah,
exactly. But he will take you up to the upper floor, which is a long hallway, and there are some statues up here in niches, which are all very, again, streamlined and Art Deco looking.
Okay.
Think the Oscar statue, that kind of style.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And goes down to a couple doors down where there's another little cabinet, and he stops and he opens up the cabinet and takes out a couple of glasses and a bottle of something that's faintly green in color, and pours out 3 little shots and says, you are going to need to fortify yourselves before we go into my inner sanctum.
Oh my! She takes a little sniff of it. Is it anise?
Yeah, it smells like licorice.
Licorice. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, she'll take a little sip and say, "I'm gonna pace myself."
Right. How about you, Prez?
Yeah, I'm just gonna drink it.
Okay.
I'll just knock it back.
All right. Well, he does the same. He pretty much downs it in one shot, and then reaches into the pocket of his robe and brings out a key ring with several keys on it, and unlocks this door. And it'll take a moment or two for your eyes to adjust because it is dark in here. There are heavy curtains. The room appears to have pretty much no furniture in it. There are framed objects on the wall and a couple more what look like little statues off in the kind of darker corners of the room. But he will turn on lights, but they're very dim. They're clearly kind of custom sort of showroom sort of lights. And they come on just a little bit above each of these paintings. So most of the room is still dark, but the artwork is highlighted in their own little glow. And there is some of the most strange and bizarre kind of stuff here. Think of sort of some of the paintings out of the old Night Gallery TV program, if you ever saw that. There's, you know, little Hieronymus Bosch mixed with little Leonardo da Vinci on one of them, people being consumed by flames, weird distorted landscapes in one of them. None of these look like Lambert's. They're certainly better executed than the Lambert that you've seen as far as technique go. And the statuary is pretty obviously and clearly of the erotic nature.
Mm-hmm. Well, now do I notice, are there any like actual like Hieronymus Bosch or like
no,
all pretty much
they're kind of mashups done by modern artists. Yeah, these are not, they don't have that. Yeah, they don't have that veneer of old masters, varnishy kind of things. So, yeah, the colors are bright and almost garish. Some of them a little eye blinding.
Are there any Pickmans among them?
Make a roll.
Okay.
29. Was that a spot hidden roll?
What did you roll there, Prez? I'm sorry.
I rolled a 29.
Oh, great.
90.
Okay.
Maggie's a little overwhelmed.
Yeah. She's wandering painting to painting, shaking her head and trying to unsee what she's seeing.
She's trying to keep cool. Yeah. Not working.
One of these paintings, a very, very small one, you can take a closer look at, Prez. It's probably no more than 9 by 11, so fairly tiny in comparison to these other canvases, which are very large. Mm-hmm. This one is a nighttime scene. It looks like a painting of a churchyard. You can see sort of broken tombstones and a iron fence and a steeple kind of in the distance. It's a night scene, so there's a moon and kind of scuddy clouds going across the top. And this one is probably the best executed of any of these paintings. And the closer you look at it and the more you examine it, the more you can see that there is definitely skill and artistry involved in this, as opposed to the other ones, which are more shock for shock's sake. This little painting you're looking at is a little unnerving, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is. It's a little bit of a cold chill up the back.
And is it signed?
It has the initials RP at the bottom, but that's not a full signature, just the initials.
So I'll ask Stone. Tell me, is this a Pickman?
Oh, you've got a good eye. He comes over and throws an arm over your shoulder. That is a gem. That is a gem. A gem and rare.
Yes, I'm told his work's extraordinarily difficult to come by.
He's a very secretive man.
Didn't he have an apprentice or something as well?
Maybe students. There are a lot of people tried to emulate his work. That's for certain.
Yeah, I heard that. Seem to recall hearing something about that.
Do you have any other Pikmins or any other?
No, this is my only one. It is the gem of my collection. I've been looking for a couple of years, trying to source some more, or at least source some that are painted by anyone who worked with him in a similar style, but they haven't turned up yet.
Well, this is a fabulous collection. I'm hard pressed to place it in a genre.
He looks very proud, kind of puffs out his chest.
You're quite the eclectic fellow.
Well, you should come to some of our parties here.
Oh, party! I love a party.
Oh. Are you going to be in town next week?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you and Mr. Russell here. The two of you should come by. Dress is optional, of course.
Oh. She kind of laughs, but with all like the erotic stature around, she's a little bit uncomfortable, but she's like, oh.
Prez desperately fights the urge to say, hey, I don't want to wear no dress. But manages to stay in character as Mr. Russell.
Yes, we love that. I always like to get a sense of the art community. Is that sort of the clientele that will be at this party?
Yes. Wednesday night. It should start about 10 o'clock. Things will get rolling around midnight, probably.
Oh, fabulous.
Tell me, are there a lot of other people who collect this kind of thing?
A few. We are keen competitors as well as friends. Oh, you'll probably meet some of them on Wednesday.
Oh, how fascinating.
Yes, well, I will definitely keep that out of my article. I'm sure you don't want hoi polloi showing up.
Oh, absolutely. It is by invitation only.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this is a fabulous collection. If you wouldn't mind having Lloyd here, Mr. Russell, take some pictures perhaps of your work in the entryway.
Yes, of course.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. And yeah, she's going to kind of study the Pikmin, a little bit. And
yeah, kind of. There's a little creepy vibe that comes off of it, but it doesn't move, so that's a relief.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else in the room that kind of caught my eye other than the horrible hellscapes? And
the floor has a really beautiful kind of inlaid mosaic pattern to it in blues and greens and yellows. Very very Turkish looking. Kind of a mandala.
Okay. And is it's just sort of a square room, like a regular rectangular room?
It's more. It's a little octagonal. It sort of juts out from the front of the house a bit, like a dormer room. So.
Okay. Okay.
Are there any other doors in there other than the one we came in through?
There is not.
And there's no cupboards or closets?
Does not appear to be. It looks like this room has been specifically set up for showing artwork, or at least maybe it was a library or something previously. Hard to tell. Yeah, it doesn't look like it was a bedroom because there are no closets or other exits.
Okay.
Mr. Stone, were you bequeathed this house? Is this something that runs in your family? Or?
Oh yes, I inherited it. My father made a good deal of money during the war,
Oh, okay. What
The
business?
Revolutionary War.
Oh, okay. What business are you in?
Me? I'm a collector.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, with a collection like this, I mean, you must spend enormous amounts of time and resources.
Well, it's about getting exactly the right thing.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, he points at two of the paintings now. These two are balanced perfectly, and then he points to one across the room. Now, if I were to move any of these, it would completely throw off the entire balance of everything that is here. You can't just hang anything in a room like this, you know.
Can I make a psychology roll?
Sure. He's still got his arm thrown around you, Prez.
Oh, I've got a 5 out of 60.
Wow.
Is he toying with us when he says that? When he says that things are in balance, does he seem like he's just talking about the paintings from an artistic point of view, or does he seem like he's throwing some sort of oblique reference in front of us?
The impression you get is that it is a oblique reference. He seems to be testing the waters and watching for your reaction, or waiting to see if you're responding. He's looking for some sort of response. Okay. Even though he's flipping this out very airily and as if it's, you know, a very kind of casual thing, there does seem to be some sort of significance to what he's saying.
Yes, balance is very important. Do you study any Eastern philosophies?
Well, I dabble here and there. I have an interest in Asiatic philosophy, East Indian meditation. This room, and he walks over to the center and points at this little spiral kind of where the tiles all meet. One can be very calmed here if you sit and close your eyes and just feel the creative energy that comes from all these objects.
Art is very powerful. Yeah, she's definitely kind of giving the, like, you know, the woman who's like, you know, kind of like, you know, just going along with whatever the man's saying kind of thing, you know. Oh yeah, yeah, right.
So.
Okay.
Don't read the text.
I'm sorry. My bad.
You know, there was this piece I saw recently. Oh gosh, it doesn't really fit in with this work, but it sounds like it may be related. Lloyd, do you remember that painting? I think it might be related to Mr. Pickman somehow. Anyways, it's a picture of a woman sitting in a room. There's sort of a harbor, a seascape behind her. Blonde woman.
You can see his body start to kind of get a little, not tense, but sort of filled up with this kind of tension. Tension's probably the wrong word. Adrenaline probably is a better word for it. He kind of jams his hands in the pocket of his robe and kind of takes a couple of breaths and says, where did you see this? He looks at you. His eyes are like all intensely focused on you.
Well, it was at a party. It was just real quickly brought in, but I did look at it. It seems like.
Do you know who the owner is? Do you know where it is? Do you have an address?
I can tell you where the party was, but I don't know who the owner is.
Can we go there now?
You know what? This was in a This was in kind of a bad part of town. Do you want?
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
All right. Well, let's see if we can arrange that.
Look,
Lloyd?
Miss Townsend, I'm more than happy to help you most of the time, but if I don't get these snaps back to the office
Oh, yes.
within a very short time
We
frame,
have to get the negative.
I'm risking my job, and I know I'm sorry to bring it up, but
His head's swiveling back and
this?
forth between the two of you.
How about this? We can try and get it. Possibly we could probably bring it to you at the party on Wednesday. How about that?
Are you sure?
I can try. Yes.
Well, if you can't get it on Wednesday, then we have to go there.
Okay. All right. We could do that. It seems like you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you know anything about it? The woman
He throws his arms around Maggie's neck and hugs her. You are my new best friend.
Oh my. Oh, okay.
I feel somewhat rejected at this point. He was just had his arm around me only a moment ago. I get the feeling this chap's quite fickle.
I see. Okay. Oh well, thank you. She's a little bit embarrassed, but well, yes. Anything to help. Do you know anything about that painting? It struck me as very odd.
Rumors. I've never seen it. I believe it is a early Pikmin of some sort. I don't even know what size it is, but the description that you're giving of the subject matter, there's been rumors for years that it existed.
Ah, okay. So, all right. Well, this is very fortuitous then. Okay. The woman, was she a subject of his at one point?
I don't know anything about the history of it, frankly. But, and he goes over and he takes one of the paintings off the wall and sort of shoves it aside with one foot. This is where it's going, right here. Oh
my. So you have it all planned out, don't you?
Oh, yes. He kind of sketches the shape in the air. Now, if it's this large, then, and he goes rattling on about different sizes and different placements, and if it's this size, it needs to go 3 inches higher above this hook. And now he will rattle on for as long as you'll let him do so.
Mr. Stone, I'm so terribly sorry to intrude, but I really need to get these photographs taken so that I can get them back before the deadline.
Yes, you have to get it to
I'm terribly sorry.
He looks disoriented. You kind of pulled him out of his train of thought for a moment, and then he says, let me walk you to the door. And he links his arms through both of yours, puts himself in the middle, and either of you on either side of him.
Did Pikmin do a lot of human models? Do you know if he worked with certain modeling agencies, or perhaps less than reputable?
Well, the type of women who would model for painters, not necessarily, unless of course it's a family portrait or something like that. Not necessarily the most of the most high moral standards, let us say.
Okay. Yeah, this woman, she had a very enigmatic look about her. She was blonde.
Yes, that's what the story says.
Okay. And her face was turned away from us in the painting. Does that sound familiar?
It does. It sounds exactly like the painting I've been looking for all these years.
Okay. Do you know a model named Cassandra? Does that, in your dealings with this?
A model. I used to know a Cassandra, but I don't think she ever modeled for paintings.
No. Okay. Was that name just? Oh well. I guess I've just.
That's not your name, is it?
No.
You could model for a painter.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm very flattered. I prefer to write about art rather than be the subject of it, though.
Well, I'm sure we'll have some painters here on Wednesday who would love to do a portrait of you.
Oh, well, that would be lovely.
And you too, Mr. Russell.
Well, thank you very much.
They could do a portrait of the two of you together.
Wow, that's really quite something.
All right. Well, Prez, did you get your picture?
No, I need to do that now.
Okay.
If we could.
Well, let's go downstairs.
Yep. Let's find somewhere with some good light.
Yep. Locks the door behind him, and we'll escort the two of you down back to the main front parlor where you first met him, and he'll be happy to pose in front of a painting, and you guys can kind of direct him and shoot. He has no difficulty at all for you taking pictures in this downstairs area. You can do as much photography as you like.
I'm going to take as many photographs as I can in the hope that one of them comes out.
Or maybe one of the photographers at the newspaper can develop them for you.
Yes. Yeah. We can only hope. All right. Well, this was lovely. Thank you, Mr. Stone, for showing us your collection.
Yeah,
and we
kiss
should
kiss you on the cheek, and kiss Mr. Russell on the cheek. And now, don't forget. I expect to see you here. I expect to see both of you here.
Yes, of course. We can't wait. And as we're kind of walking out, I've got my arm and gotta get the hell out of here.
He'll stand in the doorway and wave until you guys pull out where you can't see the front of the house anymore.
You're the best GM ever. Thanks, Denise.
You're welcome.
I walked right into that one. All right.
All right, you guys can drive back. Gerard, you said that you were fine with everyone listening to your little activities. Okay.
Sure.
Would you like to fill them in on what you're doing?
I'm going to head over to the red light district on North Street. And I'm heading to a bar called the Black Sea. And as I walk in the front door, the bouncer is there. I'm like, hello, Bruno. Is Tony Fantasia here?
He's in the back counting receipts.
May I go talk to him?
Of course. You're always welcome here.
Thank you. So I go in the back and through the beaded curtain.
Yeah. Yeah, he's sitting at a table with an ever-present cigarette burning in a dish. He's got his jacket off and tie loosened. He looks a little disheveled because it's that time of the day.
Bonjour, Tony.
Sit down, Gerard.
How are you this fine day?
Good. You have anything lined up the next night or two?
No, actually, I don't. I wanted to come and ask you something. there are some strange rumors going around on the streets that I wanted to speak to you about.
When aren't there strange rumors going around on the street?
This is true. Do you know of a lady of the evening, the high-end lady of the evening, who has gone missing, named Cassandra? At least that's the name that she uses.
Yeah, that name, that upscale name, that sounds like that might be one of Oleander's girls.
Yes, her name has come up also.
Yeah, all those young ladies have these extravagant names.
Well, I have run into some people, friends of mine, who have apparently the money to afford such a thing, such an extravagance. But they are concerned because they cannot find her.
Are they looking for her specifically?
We.
Well, have they been over to Phil 80's place? He's the one that makes arrangements for.
Yes, I think that they
Oleander?
are. I think they are planning on that. Yes.
Well, they could certainly ask him if she's available.
But I was just hoping to see if I could find out if they are going in the wrong direction, and we could send them somewhere else.
Wrong
It's
direction.
A friend of theirs. I you know, this is the underworld we live in, and friends are hard to come by.
Going up the wrong avenue in what sense?
Well,
I mean, you know, most of these girls, they're Janes.
I just want to assist them if it helps them. It's apparently the girl is she's also the subject of some painting.
Well, a couple of those girls have done modeling work to extra income, that's for certain.
Well, this is for a rather unusual artist, a student of Pickman. You're familiar with the name?
Nope, doesn't ring a bell.
Well, he does very, very unusual stuff. In any case, if you know of something, you know, I could help you out this next month with a little.
Well,
less commission.
Well, Oleander's girls tend to run with high rollers who like to slum. But the girls themselves mostly live locally. Now, I've never met this Lydia Oleander, and frankly, I'm not entirely sure that she even exists. But
it's a mysterious Oleander, see we.
Yeah, but who's ever running these girls have got money because they're dressed to the nines, wearing furs. Not the kind of thing you normally see around here, but they tend to like the jazz clubs. These high rollers take them. My understanding is that a lot of these girls are willing to do specialty services outside the norm.
Well, we all know what's the specialty services here. You dabble in well, that's why I'm here.
Yes, exactly. Now, if one of these girls were to take up with, I don't know, a mentor, let us say, Oleander'd have to get a cut of whatever potential earnings she'd be losing. So if someone were to engage the services of someone like that exclusively, they'd have to have some money in their pocket to bankroll that. Unless, of course, she ran off because she fell in love.
I don't
How
think she
likely?
ran off.
How likely?
I'm afraid she may have been closer to something akin to an abduction. So she would be the girl who is missing. And she would be someone who obviously could afford her services.
Well, if she were abducted, then...
Oh, you know, Tony, are there any real weirdos? Not your everyday average weirdo, but real weirdos.
I mean, like a trunk murderer weirdo?
Like Dranger, yeah, well, yeah. The kind who would like a little something more than just fucking the girl, but imprisoning or
well, they're
chopping
out
her
there. I don't do business with those people, but I wouldn't be surprised if Oleander might.
Who would have enough money to afford something like that?
People up on Beacon Hill, probably.
Yeah. There is a name that came up once. I think his name was Philip Stone.
Kind of nods, his eyebrows go up a little bit. Well, there's money there, all right, for that sort of thing.
What kind of a man is Philip Stone? Do you know?
You want the public face or you want the private face?
Who cares about the public face?
Yeah. I've sent people up there to some of his parties. Clothing optional parties.
Ah, so he is an eclectic.
Yes. His tastes run to the extreme.
Do you think you could give me an invite to such a party?
Oh, I can certainly send you over there with a recommendation.
Yes, if you would. That would be very nice of you. 20%?
Sure, since I wasn't planning on making anything off of it anyway.
Very good. Bonjour. Au revoir.
And he'll scribble out basically a kind of a rough intro and put it in the envelope and say, hand this over and say yes to anything he asks, and you'll be welcome as little ray of sunshine.
Thank you very much. Merci. Merci beaucoup.
You're quite welcome.
And I take the envelope and I leave, and as I'm going out, I'm like, au revoir, Bruno.
He kind of nods and gives you a wink.
And I head back to the apartment.
Okay. All righty. Well, did you folks make any plans for meeting? We still need to have Frankie and Johnny talk to their lady of the evening. But I'm going to assume at least before you left the coffee shop, you may have made arrangements to at least meet the next day. Do any of you have any other plans for the evening?
Maggie's just going to think of how to get herself out of this one, but
I'm going to just head home and start formulating a plan, because I think there's a very real chance that I could actually get into art fraud now. So,
All right, so you're going to go home and plot and plan.
Yeah, do I know any painters? Maybe I could find a real painter and make quite a bit of cash.
I'm going to get all fruit up because I'm going on
Always
a
fancied
date
moving
tonight.
to Panama.
Oh, Panama. All righty. we'll assume that Johnny and Frankie play their regular gig in the evening, and you're going to want to get back to your place probably no later than 1 a.m. if this young lady's supposed to show up at 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny can inspect you and pick lint off your shoulders. And
I've got my spats on.
ooh, little cologne. Johnny, are you gonna
All right.
gonna hang out with him?
And just don't embarrass yourself tonight.
No guarantees there.
And I won't bring up the subject of your wife if you don't bring it up.
Okay.
All right. Are you guys going to be kind of watching out the window for her arrival, or are you just going to mellow out and have some drinks and
some smokes?
Okay.
So we'll have it all.
That's a good idea. I think I am nervous.
Place where we can find at least a half decent bottle of something to drink.
Oh, sure.
It's like fingernail polish.
No furniture polish.
The taste of that swill.
Yep. Bad stuff.
Yeah. All right. So we're got the place all nice and neat and.
Okay. Probably spent an hour shoving dirty clothes under a bed and
Right.
making it presentable.
Hiding all the pizza boxes.
Yeah, there you go. Stuffing the D&D books under a Esquire magazine. Well, she is very prompt and will knock on the door to your apartment. I'm assuming
I'll answer it.
I'm not entirely sure what you were expecting, but this young lady is drop dead gorgeous. She's got auburn hair. She is swathed in a mink coat with an evening gown on underneath, impeccably made up. There's a glitter of diamonds, probably could be paste, could be real. She has a slightly exotic sounding accent that's somewhat hard to place, but probably mid-European. And she gives you this warm smile and says, are you Mr. Frankie?
Oh, please come in. No, I'm Johnny, but Frankie's in the other room. Please.
I understand.
Your coat. Would you like something to drink?
That would be very
cigarette.
lovely. She shimmies out of the coat, and she's got one of these gowns on that's cut all the way open in the back to her waist and clings in all the right places. I understand
her features. Like slightly. I admire her features, and I take off her jacket, and I say, "Oh, this way, Matt." So show her into.
I understand it is both of you tonight.
Well, of course, but my friend, which means Frankie, you're going to be doing all the talking.
Yeah. Well, she will sit down on the edge of the sofa or the chair, and
I'll grab her a glass of that we picked up earlier.
Very poised, very elegant. Looks over at Frankie and says, "You are Frankie, I understand."
Yeah. What shall we call you tonight?
Georgette.
Georgette. Nice to meet you, Georgette.
My understanding is that you will both be here tonight, yes?
Yes, but I'm afraid we might have brought you here under pretenses that you weren't expecting. Don't panic. We're not the law. We're trying to help someone.
Before we go too much further, there is the question of payment.
Yes, ma'am.
I pull up the cash. I guess everybody pulled in their cash, and
one presumes it's in an envelope.
yeah. And I hand it to her.
She tucks it away discreetly down the front of her dress.
Well, so basically, we wanted to help someone, and it's a long story, but we fear that one of the women that you may know could be in life-threatening danger. And we didn't really know how to find out who she was. We only had a few leads, a few hints that she may work for a Miss Soliander. And that's how we kind of tracked you down, hoping that we could that you would be willing to help us out on our behalf.
You understand, I cannot say anything about Lydia Oleander. That would put me in a very difficult position.
Hmm. Did you bring the painting with you, right, Johnny?
Yeah, I brought it over.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind looking at this painting and let us know if you know
I'll go
her.
fetch it.
If you know her.
Right. So
Well, I mean, we don't even know her name. That's what we're kind of scrambling in the dark a little bit.
So you guys bring this thing out and uncover it.
Yeah.
She stares at it for a moment, and then her eyes get wide and her face goes pale. Blood just sort of drains out of her, and she wraps her arms around herself and starts shivering kind of uncontrollably all over.
I'll cover it up immediately. And so I'll say, so now you see the type of trouble we're trying to and the help that she needs.
This is
So this woman.
horrible. What is that thing?
We have no idea either, but we got dragged into this just by dating like you did.
This girl, I know this girl.
You recognize her?
Yes, this is Cassandra.
When was the last time you seen Cassandra?
Oh, probably a year ago. She left. Lydia was terrible trouble at the time.
What sort of trouble?
Well, she was, you can see, very pretty. Made a great deal of money. But she met this man, and she said she was in love with him, and she wanted to leave to be only with him.
What sort of man was he? Did she talk about his profession? Did she tell you anything?
I was not her best friend, but she talked very much sometimes, you see. She was very happy. Many of the girls, they thought perhaps she was just pretending to feel this way so that she could leave and not have to work anymore, you see. But I think it was true love.
Did she mention a name?
I know that she met him at a party, at one of Philip Stone's parties. And I know that he was perhaps not a businessman. I know that. Not a professional like a cab driver or something like that. I don't think he was very wealthy. At least she never said that there was money. That's how I think it was true love.
Starving artist.
Possibly, yes. Perhaps the man who painted this terrible picture.
When did you say she left?
A little over a year ago.
A year.
January, I think.
And she didn't say where she was going or anything like that?
I assumed, at least from what she said, that they were going to be living together, not as man and wife, you understand. I don't think he was the marrying kind.
While they're talking, I will pour her another drink too.
Picks it up with her hands still shaking and kind of sips it down a bit, and a little color comes back into her cheeks. The person, of course, who would know more about where she went would be Lydia Oleander.
Let me ask you this: has anybody ever approached you for perhaps position to or something like that? Have you or any of your co-workers been approached by someone?
For painting? Sometimes, yes. Usually photography, mostly.
Photography, but not a painting like this.
Painting, no, not very much. The kind of pictures that we get paid for do not lend themselves well to painting, I think. She gives you a little smile.
I don't know.
Do either of you have a camera?
Frankie?
Yeah, I do, but we're not here for that.
You have spent your money.
Oh,
You should
let's take a picture,
receive.
Let's take a picture, and I'll give you this look. And, we scared the shit out of her. Let's at least try to be more lighter mood.
I'm gonna pull Johnny aside so she can't hear me.
Okay, take him in the other room briefly. She'll sip her drink and.
Are we not going to try to negotiate to try and get our money back?
No. Did you just see the type of scare that we put her through this? Same thing that we went through, and it affected us.
We can split it 3 ways.
She's got somebody to pay.
All right.
Come on now. I mean, if we were to play a gig and somebody stiffed us on the bill, how would you feel about that?
Yeah. Except if I knew it was going to help somebody, I might.
It's going to help her pay her bills and her rent and put food on her table. Come on now. It's not being cold-hearted.
It's going to buy her another fur coat. That's what it is. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be angry.
And I say, no wonder your wife isn't around most of the time. Jeez.
I'm cheap.
You're going to treat this woman. Come back out and bring your camera. Come on.
All right.
Like I said, let's at least try to lighten up the mood. Let's let her leave out of here, leave with a smile.
Okay.
And, okay?
Yep.
Let's bring your camera.
You come back out with your camera, Frankie?
Yeah.
Doing a 1927 style selfies, right?
Well, if you come back with camera, she'll set her drink down and start unfastening her dress. You wish me to pose where?
Just just make sure you're. Well, I'm not going to mention that. I told you not to mention that, so I'll hold on to the pictures for you, Frank.
Okay, I appreciate that. This is art, by the way. We're doing this tastefully.
All right.
I hear there's a good market for this sort of stuff.
Well, she will be happy to pose in any way that you want to direct her to. And, if you prefer her with clothing on or clothing optional, she doesn't have a lot in the way of body shame or anything like that, which may be a little startling to our 20s sensibilities.
Yeah. You mentioned
yeah, but
go ahead.
Right.
I was just gonna say you mentioned Philip Stone's parties. Have you been to many of his parties?
I have been to 3 parties.
Are they as wild and crazy as I heard?
Yes, very much so. Most people do not wear clothing there.
Has it ever gotten
I haven't.
what you would call dangerous, or you know what I mean? Have you always felt safe there? Is what I'm asking.
Going there is, one expects not to be feeling safe.
Mhm.
That is why people go, for the danger.
Yes.
Putting 2 and 2 together, then, do you think Cassandra is in trouble with Mr. Stone?
It's just possible. If perhaps she did not satisfy, if he did not feel he was getting value for his money. He has a temper.
Oh, that's. Have you seen any of these displays of his temper at any of his parties?
Oh, yes. I have seen him slap people. I have seen him beat a man with a cane once.
What sort of things trigger these outbursts?
You can say you do not like his paintings. You can say that he is not a good host. Little things.
So
Just
it's not done in like a playful manner. He's actually a violent person.
Oh, yes, yes. Can be sometimes. This is true. He was never that way to me. But other people, his moods are changeable.
Have any of your have any of your coworkers suffered under his moods?
One girl came back with a black eye once, but she did not say who gave it to her. So
It was after she went to one of his parties.
yes, and it could have been one of his other guests.
And I'm assuming that Lydia is aware of this. She allows you all to put yourself in that position.
It is worth a great deal of money.
And you're going to protect her for that too?
I did not say protect. I said it would get me in a great deal of trouble if I talk about her. The girls I can speak about, but Lydia, her business is her business. You understand?
Who do you fear more, Lydia or Mr. Stone?
Mr. Stone, I do not have to see. Lydia, I must see every day.
Okay. Well,
Am I missing anything, John?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm not coming up with anything. I mean,
You wish to.
we've got a little. We've got, but
You wish to speak to Lydia about this girl?
Yeah,
Cassandra?
if you can set that up for us. Because think about it this way, from Lydia's point of view. She made Lydia a lot of money, and now all of a sudden she's disappeared. Dangerous. If she can help us, give us a bit of information, perhaps we can track her down. We can bring her back to Lydia. Lydia will go back to making more money.
You bring Cassandra back. Lydia will pay you, I am certain.
Yeah. But if any information that we can get from her that can help, we're willing to do the legwork.
Yeah, do we have to go through Mr. Addy, Phil Addy, to...
Let me ask her if she will see you. I cannot guarantee that she will say yes.
Right.
And I will tell her that you know something about where Cassandra is. Perhaps that will make her say yes. So she does not like to be in the public eye.
Of course.
And we'll keep this as discreet as possible.
You have a telephone number where I can call you, or someplace talk to you in the next day or two?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And I tell her, the clubs that we play. So.
All right. Now, you are done with photographs?
Yes. You've been such a darling.
Sits up straight, puts her shoulders back. We still have some time.
I'll go fetch her. And at this point of the show, we can switch over to other characters.
We will draw a gentle curtain over this scene.
I'm going. Yeah.
Well, she is very accommodating.
What music shall I use at this point in the show?
Spyro Gyra.
It's not the 70s, so.
So burlesque stripper music.
Yeah.
Well, you guys can decide if you wish to entertain her individually and singly, or both together. She is up for anything you guys want to bring to the table.
Yeah, I did just have one other thought. Is she here alone?
Yeah. You did not. You didn't see. There's no one standing out front.
Okay.
No. The big bruiser or the pimp or whoever you.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing.
Yeah.
And
nope.
I thought maybe too, if Cassandra had her own henchmen, that maybe that might be an avenue we could pursue too. But it sounds like that's not okay. That's fine.
Or at least nobody that we can see.
Yeah,
that's also true.
Nobody used protection back then.
But
Well, you guys will be happily exhausted and can sleep in late.
Exactly. What time are we supposed to meet up with the others?
Probably, generally, it seems like late afternoon seems to be about the best time, since you folks are all keeping fairly late hours. So she will discreetly let herself out. So. But one will presume that the coffee shop near Gerard's apartment is probably the best and default place for you folks to get together.
sounds good.
Okay. So Frankie and Johnny look very relaxed.
They are glowing.
They are glowing.
Gerard, do you have one of those fancy cigarettes I can borrow?
And strangely enough, they don't ever look at one another.
soon as money well spent, I expect to have that $10 repaid.
We'll work on
Uh, Maggie's a little pale. She's unsure of what's gonna happen. So she's a little quiet this morning.
So we're jumping ahead to the next day. Okay.
Yeah, unless there's anything else you folks need to do aside from getting some sleep or have further things you want to follow up on at this point.
Well, I was sort of thinking about just going over there that evening.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of changed my mind. I need to get something to where I look really decent.
Okay.
I'll probably do it tomorrow.
All right.
Where were you going to go?
What's that?
Where were you going to go?
I was going to go over to Philip Stone's house.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was just going to knock on the door and just stand there and stare at him with a
Smoldering
seductive sort of look. Yeah, a smoldering look.
Yeah, this dude sounds dangerous.
Is that just where you find the best money?
Oh, God.
Better be careful, Gerard. You might end up in a painting next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe in the silliness.
He doesn't believe it. So experience it.
It's just a piece of wood with some paint on it.
So what do y'all think?
What trick of the light?
Just a trick of it.
A little bit more information, but what sort of avenues do you think we have to pursue here?
Well, it seems like everything is pointing towards this party.
Mm-hmm.
Get into a party with Mr. Stone. How you and I will get in there, I have no idea. But
So are we all sharing our information with one another minus certain details?
Yeah.
The gentleman doesn't kiss and tell.
Well, say
Well, I was meaning that I don't tell you anything about what I was doing.
say Gerard. Do you know any good painters?
No, monsieur, I am a sculptor, not a
You
painter.
don't know any painters? Where might I find a painter if I needed a painter? I mean, not like for painting my walls. I mean, for painting a painting for a commission.
There are countless starving artists over in that place.
There's the
Hey.
Boston Art Club.
Artist Square.
The Boston Art Club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Boston Art Club.
There you go.
Okay, Boston Art Club, eh?
Whether they are good or not, that is.
Well, that's where Lambert came out from. Right?
Yes, Lambert is a terrible artist. I've seen his work.
But he was a member there. Or, I don't know what the proper term is, but he and Pickman, I believe, both had showings there.
Or they were thrown out, but you can find out why.
Are you seriously considering this, Prez? Is this a new avenue for you?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm just wondering.
Did you, out of game, did you tell us about your deal with Danny Dice?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay.
Yes. Well, tangentially, I said I might have inadvertently involved myself in an art fraud scam, and that I had a line on where there was another one of these paintings. But you know, I do still have my my business card for E. Whittington Pelbeam, art dealer. So I might possibly be able to engage the services of an artist. or copyist, as the case may be.
Has Maggie told us the rather strange Mr. Stone's some of the weird details?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm leaving that to Maggie.
The big mouth over here. Yes, well, I mentioned to Mr. Stone about the painting, and he seems very, very interested. He knows exactly what we're talking about. And he has invited Prez and I to his next party, which is this very Wednesday.
No. Mon Dieu.
Something the matter, Gerard?
I am also invited to this party.
Well, you're more than welcome to come. In fact, I think there should be quite a variety of us. This seems like a very comfortable.
What am I going to do now?
Well, okay.
When is the party from this time?
From where you are now, 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Today's Monday. Yeah.
And why did you just react like that, Gerard?
He doesn't want to be there with
It
me.
is not important.
Well, it seemed like it was important. Have you got something on Wednesday you wanted us to be at or something?
Do not worry about it.
Just ignore him. I thought we were over this, Gerard.
I thought we were a team.
Yeah.
We're trying to help this young lady.
Yes. Speaking of the young lady, do we know anything about her whereabouts? Do we think she may be with Mr. Stone? Is that kind of the vibe that you two got from the woman you met with?
Good.
Wait. Did you and Johnny show her the painting?
Yeah, we had to show her something to see if she recognized the lady.
But how? And she could see?
She definitely had the reaction that the rest of us did.
Oh, dear.
You're special, Gerard.
What time is it? It's I need some coffee. Give me the big cup. Thank you.
Double shot of espresso.
Merde.
Well, Gerard, I think we should be working.
Pretty much.
Go ahead.
Yes. We are working together.
Yeah, you're the only one who hasn't seen it.
Please go on with your conversation. Ignore me.
Yeah,
So we'll share all of our
Yeah.
and we'll let you know that if you go to this party, you might be in danger. So
Yeah, and Maggie definitely got the vibe that she's going to be in danger.
Yeah.
And I've also promised that I would bring the painting to him. But at this point, he's expecting the painting no matter what. He already has the place set out for it. So our goal is to see if we can try and find this woman. I don't give a damn about the painting if he has it in his weird little sanctum or whatever he calls it.
except now we're sort of, Prez has promised it to Danny Dice and you've promised it to Mr. Stone.
Well, perhaps fraud is way out of this.
Maybe we should all be looking for.
I'm telling you, we just get a couple of copies made, and cash in and move on.
So Stone has already paid for this piece, though, right? He was lying to President and I when he said that he.
I don't think she can answer that question.
Huh?
That's not a question she can answer yet.
Right. No. I was just trying to see if we had already.
You're thinking out
Yeah,
loud.
this is Maggie thinking out loud.
Yeah. So he was going to have the painting delivered to him. So that implies that he knows that of the painting's existence. He made it seem to Prez and I that he did not know that the painting was real. He had heard just rumors about it and that it was speculation and that's what he was saving that space for. So someone, either he's lying or someone wants to get it to this gentleman for a specific reason.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's another piece of this that there's another entity out there that we're unaware of.
Well, Danny, I find it hard to believe that Danny Dice would give this away if he knows it's worth a lot of money. Do you know what I mean?
Unless he owed something.
Can I just say I like saying Danny Dice?
Yeah, it's a nice alliteration.
Yeah.
I agree, but yes, perhaps there's someone else that we're not aware of. This is a multi-level operation, and I mean, to me, I don't know, Prez, if you felt the same way, because he was mostly focused on me, but Mr. Stone felt very, shall we say, enticed by the idea that this is a real product, and he, in fact, wanted to see it immediately.
He thinks it's a Pikmin.
That's true. He didn't mention Lambert's name.
Really? That's interesting.
He also seems to not know about Cassandra, which I mentioned. But
You don't wonder if maybe maybe Lambert signed his name on one of Pikmin's paintings to try and make a name for himself, maybe?
From what I understand, it doesn't look anything like a Pikmin.
I guess
That's
so. I
my
mean,
understanding.
I don't really know much about art.
Well, I remember.
I mean,
little
those
bits.
dogs playing poker though.
that's a good one.
That's class. That's
Yeah.
class. That is. I'd like that hanging up on.
Is
my
this
toilet wall.
another drug-induced hallucinations that you've had dogs playing cards?
Have you never seen that? Dogs playing poker?
You're not hanging out with the right artists there, Jerome.
Yeah, you're not going to the right bars.
Yeah.
That picture's been hanging up in every bar I've drunk in for the last 10 years.
Yes.
Well, if Stone doesn't know that Lambert did this, maybe Stone hasn't even seen the painting.
He hasn't.
He
He
hasn't
only knows of it. He only knows he knows rumor and speculation about it. He knows sort of what it's he knows the base figments of it. He might have seen a reproduction or something, or
Well, it's in Prez, you can give him a piece of wood with something painted on it, and he won't know the difference.
That's what I'm thinking.
The other thing is the theme of the painting is totally out of sync with the rest of the paintings in the sanctum, besides the eeriness of it, of which we've all seen with an exception. It would not fit well at all in with the rest of those paintings. And so that it must be something about this painting has some sort of symbolism that he's looking for. This is a very disturbed man. I'm very uncomfortable, and I don't know if I can go to this party on Wednesday. He shocked my sensibilities.
No, you
I gotta
shouldn't
say,
go.
I kind of liked him.
I don't think you should go. You should be safe and stay home with some coffee and some tea and stuff.
Thanks,
So
Gerard.
that you can go.
Well,
Actually,
I have
the very opposite idea. I say that if you were invited to this party, we should all go.
No, you cannot go to one of these sort of things without an invitation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have the painting that he wants.
That's true. That could be our way in. I mean, Prez and I already have one. And Gerard, it seems like he's also been invited somehow.
You know you're going to have to go naked.
He said dressing was optional. I thought he was just talking about dresses and that I could wear trousers or something, but
No, he
meant
means
actual
birthday suits.
dress. Yes, that's
Yeah, I
from
don't
what-
think he's intending us to take a cab over there in our bare scuddies, though.
Well, I'm
Well,
sure he
dressing
has
is
a
optional.
cloakroom or something.
I'm
The
guessing
deep cloak room.
The cloakroom, yes.
I'm guessing you'll debag at the appropriate juncture.
Well,
Well.
this is just totally very strange. But I mean, can we get more information out of Oleander to get more information about this Cassandra girl? She may not even be with Philip Stone anymore. He didn't seem to have any idea who she is.
Well,
Yeah.
You also said that he pretended not to know about the painting or not owning the painting.
That's true, but it was a topic of the painting, and so he was very emphatic about anything related to the painting. I feel like he would have mentioned something.
Well,
He could have been lying.
unless he's trying to some of his motives, which seems that he has been.
What if Cassandra's in
I don't
the
know.
basement?
The
right
question
then?
here, I mean, I have a feeling that our investigation here is leading us, Mr. Stone's party. I mean, we have a few days until this party happens, so get a bit of information before. And if it leads elsewhere, then we can ignore the part.
So far, it's our only lead. I agree.
We should do some digging because a guy like that is going to have some dirt on him.
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
bound to.
Yeah.
He's bound to.
Absolutely.
Well, if you folks want to pursue some research or digging through newspapers or anything like that before our next session, then we can do that through email. It sounds to me like there are a number of unanswered questions hanging out to look into, which sounds like a good cliffhanger to kind of end the evening on.
All right, that is a good spot. This is really an outstanding game.
Thank you.
Very, very interesting. Our players included Jeff Wilkins, Troy Wheeldryer, Mick Swan, Steve Hill, Wayne Worthy, and myself with Janice Hill as Keeper of the Secrets. Our musical intro, Jubilee Stomp, was performed by Duke Ellington and his Cotton Club Orchestra. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. Patrons of our show enjoy the privilege of listening to some of our pre- and post-game conversations. We discuss just about everything. It can be fascinating, funny, and insightful. If you'd like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month will help us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We love hearing from you. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.